Welcome to Hop on Calls, a short, tactical, and practical podcast for outbound sales professionals looking to level up their game by learning from actual cold calls that I make every week live on LinkedIn. My name's Kevin Hopp, and I'm all about helping outbound sales professionals hone their craft and build high-quality pipeline. Let's dive right in and see what we can learn in this episode. Yeah, my name's Kevin. I run my own little company called Hopp Consulting Group. I know I'm calling you out of the blue here. Did I catch you with a minute and I can explain why I'm calling? Absolutely. I see that you're the CTO. You might not be the right person for me to speak to, but I work exclusively with startup tech companies, SaaS businesses, to help them build a strong calling culture, doing things like this, right? Going to get net new business. What was that? Okay. Yeah, that was bad. So one of the problems on my list here, Topher, is it's founders. And I need to do a deeper dive. So Dimitri is a CTO. And I knew he wasn't the guy, and I was hoping that he'd hear me out and then pass me to someone else. But he said, I don't need this, and he hung up as soon as he heard that I was calling about sales.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, for us, because we're more of a platform, almost like a project or property management operating system. Like, depending on who answers, is just that's how I vary my talk track. Like, if I happen to get a controller on, then I'm going to dive deep into the accounting side and tell them all the benefits. But if I happen to get the director of management or something along those lines, I'm going to go more on the manager side and how they can operate more efficiently with less headcount, or being able to track action items, things like that. So for me, that's kind of where I have to deviate on that. If I happen to get like the head of maintenance on there, that's where I run into the cool. You have someone else I can talk to, which I know isn't the response, but it's just like they're like one of the few people that will potentially answer the phone that I have nothing for, and I just go for the general pitch and be like, hey, who do I need to talk to?
Yeah. I mean, it's tough, and there's a reason that you don't see. There's a reason you don't see data companies hosting shows like this, right?
Right.
The reason is it is a uphill climb to try and get data right and to try and have all this accurate information on people. And all I can say about that is that it's not going away, right? So for everybody who's listening, if you're thinking, I need to get XYZ data provider, I need to switch from this one to that one, and that's going to solve my... No. I've worked with literally 15 different data companies. They're all about 30 to 40. The worst ones are 40 to 50% inaccurate. The best ones are like 30% inaccurate, but they're still wildly inaccurate. 3 out of 10 times you're talking to the wrong person. You're like, who is this? So I'm telling you.
And even if it was accurate even 6 months ago, with the way that people change companies or change positions or whatever at the rate they are now, you just have to go for it with whoever ends up picking up on the other side of the line.
That's right. And being able to make the most of every call is really important, right? That's also a concept that I had to get some of the SDRs I was coaching earlier last year. I ran into I was coaching a group of SDRs, and they would like hang up quickly if it wasn't the person that they wanted. And you got to realize that if you have someone on the phone, you can have hey,
it's Ransom in. That'll be fine. I'll go ahead and send him an email as a follow-up. I'm just coming into town next week, wanted to see what his schedule looked like. Sure, that's fine. Thank you so much. It's the one thing I'm going to do this afternoon I didn't have a chance to do before the call is I set up those drop voicemails. I know a lot of people have opinions on them, but because nobody leaves voicemails have resulted in quite a few callbacks for me.
Interesting.
Enough to where it makes sense.
So talk to me about that. How do you set that up? So usually use some sort of software to automate that, because Kixie can do that, a voicemail drop.
Right. Yeah. So I didn't transfer my file over from our sales enablement tool to Kixie. But I do that all the time. I'll just I'll figure out why I'm calling for that day, and I'll record a general voicemail, and that's what I drop on everybody that I don't talk to or I get to their voicemail box. And I also have a sequence behind that where I follow up, because my general voicemail is something along the lines of, hey, this is Topher from Sync Systems. Just letting you know whatever I was calling about. no need to call me back. I'm going to send you an email. But if you do want to talk further, my telephone number is, and I put in my number.
Wait. So you
and
skipped over an important part. What are you calling about?
So it depends on, like, for this one, I'm calling for this particular trip that I'm going on, but most of the time I'm calling just in general for sync. So hold on.
Right. But is the purpose of your call to talk about sync, or is it to talk about their business?
So it depends on whose list and what I'm calling. So most of the time it's finding out about them.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's, hey, I just wanted to, sorry, I've got this thing going in the background. I can't think. So generally what I'll do is in a voicemail, because the purpose of my call is to find out about their business, because I'm trying to qualify them just as much as I'm trying to get them to take a meeting. Because if I call and our data's wrong and they're like 5 associations or they manage apartments or whatever it is, I need to know that up front so I'm not wasting my time during a disco or a demo.
Yep.
So the purpose of that first call, if I can get them on the phone, it's to qualify them out as quickly as possible. Like find out they've built their own software or competitor they're using, what bank they're with, different things like that. Because I can tell within about 5 questions, is it worth exploring more or is it just not going to be a benefit to either of us?
Yeah. Interesting. So one of the things that I've had success with in the past is trying to make voicemails all about them as much as possible, but at the same time, trying not to give up the farm on who I am. Because one of the things that I have found, and I don't know, you might find this and you might not, that if you do the standard voicemail, right? Like I was explaining this to one of the teams I coached this week. In sales, there's what you want to say, like instinctually, like right away, right?
Right.
Which comes from, once again, psychology degree. It comes from this deeper place where all humans are selfish. You ever heard the idea? There's no such thing as an intrinsic act, right? So sales, like a lot of gurus and people talk about, like sales is help people. Well, look, the elephant.
I'm trying to help people because I'm trying to get paid.
I'm trying to get paid. I'm trying to put food on my table, and I put food on my table by helping you. But the helping is tied to that. So that the money is what drives. Josh Braun uses this term called commission breath, right?
Yeah.
Commission breath sounds like this. Steven, I would love 20 minutes of your time next week to show you my world-breaking platform. It also sounds like this. Steven, I'm calling because Sync is this technology company that is doing so many great things, and we have this and this and this and this, and I'd love to get 10 minutes of your time to show you about it. If you just take that, and you put it over here and you listen to it, you're like, okay, you are with Sync and you want a meeting to show me this. You. Right?
Right.
So in sales, if you take the first thing that you want to say out of your mouth, out of your head, like the first thing you write down, the first thing, go deeper, go way deeper. And instead of talking about you, because your commission breath is driving all of your action, like every bit of a salesperson is programmed to get me more leads, get me more sales, get me more me. If you flip that language, you're going to be incredibly surprised at what happens, because you're actually going to get probably less meetings and appointments, higher quality meetings and appointments.
Right.
People that are actually saying, well, when you were talking about how you helped this other company just like me, and when you were talking about the problems I have in my business, that resonated. Oh, shit. So you weren't just trying to see my shiny object demo over here. You were showing up because you have a business problem. What gets deals done? Business problems, baby.
Yeah.
No one's buying anything if it doesn't solve a problem in their business, make them more money, save them time. Time is money, right? It's all this, the basic stuff. But make it about them always. That's like my big, if you're watching this live, you take nothing else away, make it about them.
Hey, it's Topher at Sync Systems. How are you? Good. I was just calling to let you know I'm going to be in town next week. I wanted to see if there'd be a good day for me to swing by and meet the guys in your office. So we're the largest provider of accounting and management software dedicated to the HOA space. Sure, absolutely. Thanks for your time. Didn't even let me finish talking.
Whoa, what'd they say?
They have created their own software, and they would request to be off of our list, please.
Yep. Okay, that's really interesting. It sounds like that's a really common objection you're getting.
It's not as common as it has been this hour.
Really?
It is fairly, it's not uncommon, but it's not, I don't normally get 3 in a day, much less 3 in 45 minutes. So that's a little interesting. Have to go back and look at those particular prospects and come up with a different approach. The build
because buy thing is difficult.
Huh?
Right? Build versus buy is like the classic software problem.
Right.
But pitching against someone who's invested a lot of time and money and effort and energy into it, I think it's going to be harder.
It's an uphill battle for sure.
Yeah.
The only reason we even continue the conversation like that is because we've had success bridging the gap. So they're able to still use the front end system, for instance, that they've put their blood, sweat, and tears into and what their homeowners see, and we just take over the back end. So we do all the integrations with the banks, help make their processes easier, but the homeowner doesn't see any difference because they're just pulling from our APIs.
Yep. So next time you hear someone say that, what I would go to immediately in a pattern interrupt, and it's got to be a pattern interrupt, because from what I'm hearing, that it's like we invested in our own tech and it goes quickly to a right. A thing to try is to go, I totally get you investing in your own tech. All of our best customers had built their own solution before they saw what we could do.
There we go.
So that's another psychological tool called cognitive dissonance. That's when things don't add up. It's not going to add up in their brain. Wait, I just told you something that should make you go away, and you just turned around and made that the reason for the call, and that you're saying that's why you're calling me. Their brain is going to go, does not compute, and then they're going to say, well, what do you mean, right? Most people are going to seek clarity in that instance. When they seek clarity, that's when we can actually have the conversation. Now try that. I don't know if that's going to work every time.
Yeah, now I'm not going to talk to one for like another 5 weeks. But that is solid.
Never going to see it again.
No, it is solid advice though, because like I said, that's the reason why we keep those conversations going, is because we've seen success with people doing that. So definitely a good move. Hey, okay. Sure, yeah, this is Topher Evans with Sync Systems. I was just calling to let him know I'm going to be in town next week and wanted to see when would be a good time to swing by and meet you guys. Yeah, it's 770. Yeah, so my name's Topher, like gopher, but with a T, in Sync Systems, CINC Systems. Excellent. What was your name? Thank you so much. All right, bye-bye.
That made me smile. Gopher with a T.
It makes it stick out. I've been dealing with how to explain how to say and spell my name. So as soon as I take the jab out of it and just make fun of myself, it makes it a lot easier and people remember it.
Love that. Gopher with the T. All right, Toph, we have reached our full hour here. How can people connect with you, follow you, etc.?
So best place to find me is here on LinkedIn. I technically have Facebook, but that's for me to look at memes and share pictures with my parents so they can see their grandkids more. And then if you want to learn more about Sync, it's syncsystems.com.
Love it. Well, Topher, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you coming on Hop on Calls. Everybody tune into the podcast. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, search Hop on Calls. You can listen to nothing but the best moments, hear both sides of the audio, and check out Kixie. People process technology. If you're not using technology like Kixie, what are you doing? It's 2023, people. Give it the program.
So I was saying before, Kixie, I've never used anything, and Kixie has been amazing.
Hell yeah. Love it. Cheers, Topher.
And that's all we got for today's episode of Hop on Calls, powered by Kixie. Be sure to tune into the live recordings every Tuesday on LinkedIn. Would love to have your comments, reactions, questions. It's a really good learning environment for anyone that is looking to do outbound sales better. If your organization is actively focusing on this, feel free to reach out to me, Kevin Hopp, on LinkedIn, or go to hoppconsultinggroup.com. I'll see you next time. Cheers.